The story kicks off with a 20-year-old girl named Han. She's a Korean American living in New Mexico, USA, with her parents. They run a small shop, and Han often helps out with daily tasks. One day, her father surprises her with a custom-made ring just for her. Han is overjoyed and proudly slips it onto her finger. That night, Han lies to her mom and sneaks out to a club with a female friend. While they're enjoying the scene, a guy dressed as a firefighter approaches them. He seems drawn to Han, offers them drinks, and casually strikes up a conversation. As the night goes on, Han's friend quietly leaves, and the man starts openly flirting with Han. After a while, Han tells him she needs to head home. He offers to give her a ride, and since he seems trustworthy, she agrees. But things take a dark turn. On the way, he pulls over and chats with a man in another car parked behind them. Han immediately senses something's off. Her eyes catch the firefighter badge, it's fake. Panic sets in. She tries to run, but it's too late. The men grab her, tie her hands, tape her mouth, knock her out, and stuff her into the trunk of the second car. The next morning, a police officer named Bob gets a call. Another officer reports finding a girl's dead body. Bob rushes to the location where a local man who discovered the body is already waiting. As Bob inspects the scene, he notices something shocking: a tracker strapped to the girl's leg. He calmly asks if anyone else has seen the body. When the man replies no, Bob suddenly pulls out his gun and shoots them both dead. Why? That horrifying truth comes out later. Meanwhile, Han slowly wakes up inside a dark truck packed with other kidnapped girls. They're terrified and confused. Soon, the truck pulls up to a warehouse, and the girls are dragged inside. Without warning, a man viciously beats Han until she passes out again. When she opens her eyes, she finds herself tied down in a cold, hospital-like room right inside the warehouse. A silent female doctor appears. She treats Han's injuries, but without saying a word, she injects her with something that makes her weak and dizzy. What follows is even more degrading. Han is forcefully bathed. All her belongings are taken, including the special ring from her father. A tracker is strapped to her leg, and she's locked up like a prisoner. Later, an announcement echoes through the warehouse, calling all the girls to step outside. Just like Han, they've all been kidnapped for the same horrifying purpose: forced prostitution. Suddenly, Officer Bob walks in. He looks respectable, like a hero in uniform, but behind that mask, he's pure evil. He's actually the twisted mastermind running the whole trafficking ring. His trusted partner in crime? A man named Vaughn, who helps manage everything from the shadows. Bob furiously lashes out at Vaughn for letting one of the girls escape. He growls that if he hadn't murdered the officer and the local witness, they would have all been exposed. That girl had also been kidnapped and was on her way to a client, but somehow, she slipped away. Sadly, she later died from gunshot wounds after trying to flee. Trying to keep the girls distracted, Bob bizarrely hands each one a kitten as if that could make them forget the nightmare they were living in. Later, he visits Han and coldly gives her an ultimatum. She has only 2 days to accept this horrifying new life or he'll have her parents killed. He even strips away her identity, giving her a new name. Han is stunned and speechless. She can't even process what's happening. Bob then instructs Vaughn to keep her under close watch. Inside this place, the girls are forced to shower twice a day, and they're subjected to regular pregnancy tests. One girl, working directly for Vaughn, handles client calls and keeps an eye on the others, but she still lives among them like a prisoner. When a client calls, Vaughn picks a girl and drives her in a van to meet powerful, wealthy men, whether at hotels, bungalows, or hidden private spots. Refusal isn't an option. Any girl who resists is instantly threatened with death. 2 days later, Vaughn lines up several girls including Han and chooses who gets sent out. They are forced into new clothes and taken to a secret location covered in surveillance cameras clearly meant for dark web videos. There, Han and another girl are tied up and viciously beaten on camera. Afterward, they're dumped back at the warehouse. Han breaks down in uncontrollable sobs, until one of the girls holds her close, trying to offer a shred of comfort in this cruel nightmare. The very next day, Vaughn takes Han to a client's house and coldly tells her to make him happy. While Vaughn locks himself in the bathroom to get high, he suddenly hears a loud scream. He bolts out and sees the client groaning on the floor. Han had fiercely attacked his private parts and made a run for it. Han runs as fast as she can and reaches a nearby house where 2 women are standing outside. Gasping for breath, she pleads for help, but the women get scared and freeze. Just then, Vaughn shows up, pretending to be a police officer. He lies and says, "She's a drug addict. I'm here to get her." Before anyone can react, he grabs Han, ties her up again, and pours ice all over her as a brutal punishment. Time drags on. Han remains trapped for an entire year. Over time, she begins adjusting just to survive. She even befriends another girl who's been stuck there for 3 years. One day, Han spots something shocking, the same ring her father once gave her, now on the finger of the girl who works for Vaughn. Before she can react, a man storms in and takes her friend away. Later, Han and a few other girls are dragged to a lavish party hosted by a wealthy man. One of the guests takes a liking to Han and leads her to a private room. After the event, the girls are hauled back. That night, Han sees the girl with her ring fast asleep. Rage takes over. She lunges at her and demands the ring back. But Vaughn steps in, drags them apart, screams at Han, and snatches the ring away, then orders her to leave. Han realizes she needs a new plan. She must earn Vaughn's trust if she ever wants to escape. She tells him the other girls talk badly about him and suggests she should replace his assistant. But Vaughn doesn't buy it. Then one night, Vaughn takes Han and 2 girls to another party to serve clients. When the men try to shortchange them, Vaughn pulls out a gun and scares them into paying. As Han counts the money, they suddenly notice the other 2 girls have vanished. Vaughn grabs Han and dashes out to hunt them down. At a local store, Han suddenly spots the 2 runaway girls. Heart pounding, she points them out to Vaughn. He wastes no time, rushes over, captures them, and beams with pride at Han. She feels awful for betraying them, but she had no choice. Gaining Vaughn's trust was her only shot at survival. The next day brings a twist. Vaughn doesn't send Han to a client. Instead, he brings her to his own house. There, he tells her she's now in charge of answering customer calls. The girl who used to handle it watches bitterly from the side. Vaughn starts training Han himself, and she quickly picks it up, doing exactly what he wants. Meanwhile, in broad daylight, Bob stands on a stage giving a bold speech about fighting human trafficking and drug crimes. But right after, a detective corners him with serious questions. He brings up the officer and the local man who were murdered, and reveals that Bob's car GPS placed him at the crime scene. Bob's smile vanishes. He panics and denies everything. Later, Vaughn and Han drive to a remote location where 2 dead girls lie cold in the dirt. Vaughn explains they had fallen ill from the non-stop abuse, so he killed them. Bob is already there, casually fishing nearby like nothing happened. Vaughn and Han join him on a boat. Bob taunts Vaughn, laughing, "You used to be a nobody." Furious, Vaughn snaps. He grabs a wooden stick and bludgeons Bob to death. He then tells Han that Bob had to go. If he got caught, they'd all be exposed. One day, as Han answers another client call, she picks up on something strange. The caller asks about prices, something real clients never do. She instantly realizes he's a cop, but instead of reacting, she plays along and takes the order calmly. Later, Vaughn and Han take another girl to meet with a man who supplies women for their network. Han notices a tattoo on the man's hand. It hits her instantly. He's the same guy who had delivered her to the warehouse. Her heart races as she steps into the bathroom, where she spots children's beds, and hears faint, heartbreaking noises. Following the sounds, she finds her pregnant friend, the one who was taken earlier. Han whispers that she's only pretending to cooperate and promises, "I'll get you out of here." Vaughn and Han leave with another girl, but Vaughn isn't fooled. He senses Han knows too much. He finally confesses pregnant girls are kept at that place, and once they give birth, their babies are sold like merchandise. Han is horrified and lashes out in protest. Without flinching, Vaughn pulls over, hands her a gun, and coldly says she must prove her loyalty by killing the girl or die herself. Shaking, Han pulls the trigger, but click, the gun is empty. It was just a twisted test. On the drive back, Vaughn suddenly receives a call. Bad news. The police have discovered their base. One of their own men betrayed them. Vaughn loses it, races back to the warehouse, tortures the snitch to death, burns every last piece of evidence, and quickly moves all the girls to a new location. Later, Vaughn tells Han it's time to flee to Dubai. He plans to lay low and restart operations later, but Han has her own plan. While Vaughn is in the bathroom, she secretly mixes poison into his drugs. As soon as he takes them, he starts coughing violently. She hands him a drug injection, only it's not to help. It's to kill. With Vaughn gone, Han tears off her tracker, grabs stacks of cash and supplies, and escapes at last. Han races to the house where her friend is being held and demands her release. The man refuses, saying the money she brought isn't enough. Han keeps her cool, pretending she just wants to talk, then suddenly stabs him with a drug-filled injection. She rushes inside and finds her friend shaken and desperate, but her friend refuses to leave without her baby. Han lowers her eyes and softly reveals the truth. The baby has already been sold. Her friend breaks down, and Han gently pulls her away. They flee together, speeding down the road with their hearts pounding. On the way, Han calls her mother. The moment her mom hears her voice, she collapses into sobs her daughter is alive. The story ends here. Do you think Han's revenge was justified, or should she have trusted the law instead? Tell us in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss another video.